Good day, brothers and sisters, One Nation Tribal Alliance and community. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we are continuing our uh, communication podcast, whether through just a native talk that we want to start. Even I want to start because, not much things are said about the native side of what's going on or what we are doing and everything. But first, I wanted Eve to introduce herself one more time for the people because this is our second time, and I don't know if you really caught on to who she is, where she's from, and everything. So go ahead, Eve.
Well, bonjour. Hello everybody. My name is Eve Howard. I am enrolled in Ojibwe. I'm enrolled in the White Earth Band of Ojibwe. And I was born in Minneapolis, so I kind of have to me, my parents were boarding school kids. So, there was almost like a skipped generation of not being part of our heritage and knowing I grew up with the stories, but there was a partial missing piece. So I think it was probably about 14. Most of the boarding schools had priests and nuns, so it was run by the Catholic diocese, I think they're called. And my mother kind of pushed me into becoming Catholic. Again, I was pushed in at a very young age. And I grew up in a school that was predominantly non-Indigenous. So there was like a very small percentage of us. And, we all kind of grew up. They were in a village, and I was like living between two towns, so I was kind of living out of the village. So, kind of right away, it just kind of felt like I was already pushed further away from, being part of my own people. And they have a tendency to kind of put up walls, and I understand that. It's just it's hard because, growing up on the reservation, I I witnessed it. I was told numerous times, when I was looking for my path, which I truly felt was, being a Mede, which was, a medicine woman. There was a whole lot of issues on whether, certain tribes wouldn't allow me to become an apprentice and start to learn or do any of that because my mother had willfully had me baptized in the Catholic Church. So I've always kind of come across like these walls of only going so far. But it's like, when you have this calling, it doesn't, no matter how many closed doors you run across, you're going to find the path that's right for you. And it took me a long time. I was doing the same things that I was doing when I was younger, running around, at partying, just not focused on what it was that I was here for. So everything kind of went downhill real fast. And learning who I was, it took some time. And I think it was about October 2nd of 2016. I had a near-death experience. And it was like everything just kind of fell into place on what I was supposed to do and what I was here for. And I've had like these communications, and I think it's like my higher self. You know, um, I also get I see a lot of ancestors, you know, um, a lot of the elders and stuff when they're leaving this plane of existence and going to the spirit realm, I can see them for a while. So, I mean, that kind of thing, really scared me as a kid because, no one really explained it to me, and I was just told I had a very vivid imagination. So right then and there, everything was kind of shut down for me, and learning, and I wanted to bring my kids up without religion. I wanted them to learn their spirituality. I wanted them to learn their gifts and choose their own paths. And I think that they're doing a wonderful job of it. They're all adults now. And that's all that we can really do, at this point. I mean, I get a lot of visions, I get a lot of information given to me, and when I'm trying to help others, I don't know, it's like get called out because I'm not, doing it through a certain ceremony, or I don't have a certain title. But it doesn't stop that from happening. It doesn't recognize that. It only knows that, I call upon help, and when I get the help, I understand why the information was given to me in a certain way. So a lot of it is when I'm getting the information, figuring it out, trying to find the right people, trying to understand why things are told to me the certain way. So that's kind of where I met Greg. I was like questioning something that I had been given information, and I was like, it was like playing over in my mind, and I'm like, I need clarification. And so I like put it out there. I need someone to come and talk to me about this and help me to understand. And like a day later, Greg and I started emailing. So I look upon it as a sign, and there was many, and they tell me this. They're like, there was signs along the way. You just either you choose not to see them as a sign, or you aren't there yet, on seeing these.
Huh.
So
Well,
yeah, that was interesting. So I have that open line of communication with, I'm assuming, because, this, I've never had anyone really talk to me about this. I've talked to a couple of elders, and, I was really close with my medicine man, but, he passed away. And before I could get a chance, and, all this started happening, and I didn't really have anyone to guide me. So it's been interesting, to say the least.
yeah. Well, that sounds pretty interesting because you know, when we try to learn from our elders, I mean, they my elders back home, they always tell me, you only speak when you are spoken to. So they be sitting there in the Cuba, and they was, just enjoying their tobacco and everything, and they won't say a word. They won't say a word. But until you walk up to them and say, can you please, share your knowledge about this? That's when they speak to you and talk to you. But they know when you're paying attention and when you're not.
Hmm.
So, but anyway, backing up, I guess that must be pretty tough to be raised in boarding school or Catholic school, whatever. I experienced a totally different thing. I mean, yeah, they tried to put me in a Catholic summer school one year until a good friend of mine. There's three of us. They were real good buddies. You know how the nuns, when they discipline you, they get that ruler and slap you across the hand. Well, the three of us, I don't know what we did or how we got in trouble, but here comes the nun with the ruler, and we all done decided. We said, I tell you what, if that nun hits us on our hand, man, I'm gonna pop her one and let's all take off, and we'll meet at the Arroyo. I said, okay, sure enough, he did. He popped one and we took off, and they, because they tried to chase us, but young kid, you know your way around. You can. We had a big arroyo north side of the village, so we got in that arroyo and nobody could find us, but we knew where to meet. So when we met, we talked about it, and
Hmm.
both my buddies, they got in trouble when they got home, but when I got home, my grandma asked me what happened, and I told her what happened, and how we decided. So she said, "Well, you don't need to go to that school anyway." So she never sent me back, and so I was kind of rescued by my grandma. But you know, when we go out and we do service to work, you know, healing. I took the healing route. I'm like you. I don't like the title of being called medicine man or shaman or all this. I mean, I, I'm just a healer. I mean, I'm not the healer. Basically, I know I say I'm just because I'm not the healer. I just connect. Connect with the Creator, Father, Mother Earth, and whatever happens, happens. I mean, a lot of people says, "How you do it?" I said, "I- "Just connection." So and that's this is the way. Uh, Not only connection is the way they shared the knowledge with me, but also what is very very important about this whole healing process is cleansing and protection. And that's one thing that I really reiterate to a lot of people because a lot of healers when they come call me and say, "Hey, why is this happening? Why is that happening?" Da, da, da. I said, "Well, did you cleanse and protect yourself?" Well, I was not taught that. I said, "Well,
Mm.
step back and you know, I'm not saying that there's a certain way, but step back and understand, what are you dealing with? Who are you dealing with? And how do you protect yourself from that? How do you cleanse from it? Because the way I was taught, the dark is transferring. So if you touch it, it's on you. The residue is on you. Or, you know, it could either get on you or in you if you don't protect yourself. So that's why it's very important. And then anybody that is sick and you're going to go provide services, you know, you're dealing with the dark because we are created to be healthy, happy, and prosperous. But if they take that away from us, we're sick. We get sick and all this. So these are the very important things that I like to talk to people about, or
Hmm.
share the knowledge. And what I'm saying doesn't have to. They don't have to go through every step that I do because I just share the knowledge, and if it resonates with them, I tell them take it. If it doesn't, put it on the shelf. Maybe one day somebody else will say something. You say, "Wait a minute, I remember Greg saying this before, so let me put these two together, and maybe I can create my own, you know, cleansing and protection." So, you know, I'm not, I'm not the one that would push, what was shared to me to anybody. I just share the knowledge, and like I say, if it resonates with you, take it. If it doesn't, put it on the shelf.
Hmm.
So, anyway, go ahead. Your turn.
No, I totally agree with you on that. I mean, I've had a lot on my podcast, my own self. I was like Prime Declassified. I did a lot of shows where there were these paranormal crews that would come in, and I would talk to them, and I would be like, "What do you guys do for protection before a show? Before you go into, start taping and you go into this area where there is known type of dark spirit energy." And I was really kind of shocked that there was a high percentage that didn't do anything when going into these buildings or these areas. So, yeah, it was like it's easy as like prayer. It's based on your own belief system on what you feel, is it works. I mean, I have like a whole bunch of I have like, sage. And if I go into an area where there's like really dark energy from an entity, I will bring in, powdered beaver castor, which is, powdered beaver balls. And I,
Mhm.
put that with the sage, and then you can have some sweetgrass, cedar, and you smudge this in the area, and not only on yourself but in the area, and it's just like repels them.
Yeah,
you know um you have to be able to protect yourself not only in your home, but your work area as well. What I've discovered, when I was working outside the home, working for like a tribal casino, was there was a lot of people that used bad medicine really like very flippantly, like without thought to what the cost of this type of darkness, requests or requires of you. And these people were using it, because, maybe they just felt like maybe I didn't deserve that promotion, or maybe because I kept to myself, like I had like this fantastic life, where I thought I was better than everybody else, where I was just a very private person and didn't spend it out and about doing things. And I would notice like getting sick, or else things just started to just like go wrong with no reason. I think it was, I mean, I had gone to my medicine man, and I was like, and that's I think when I talk to a lot of people that I consider to be psychic mediums, that's one of the things they say. I mean, it's best if you go to where your belief system is tied into. And with mine, it was, being Native American and going to my medicine man
Hmm.
and being able to get the help. Um, I was very lucky that he was able to remove some of the bad medicine that was being used against me and my family. He was able to even, I think he was like blind in one eye. So he, was able to see these people too and describe them to me, and I knew who they were. And once their darkness is come to the light, it loses its power.
Yeah.
And that was like a majority of it. I mean, once these people do the things that they do, it reflects on their family too. It's um I don't know, it's like something owed, like a favor or something, but this favor is pretty dark.
Well,
So
that's basically, it works not only in the native way, but in a lot of different cultures. Because when we go out, you know, in public, there is so much negative energy. I mean, cleansing and protection is constant here. I mean, one day we just get up and say we got to cleanse the home, so we cleanse the house, or it just out of the blue, we just have to cleanse the house, or we try to do it on a regular basis. But every time when we go out in public, there is so much negativity out there that when we get back, the first thing we do, yeah, we're gonna cleanse ourselves. We're gonna wash our hands because there's a lot of darkness out there, and we might have touched it, and we might have got some of that residue on us. So the first thing we do is come home, wash our hands. If we need to cleanse ourselves, we go and cleanse ourselves. And so because by protecting ourselves, we raise our vibration. We want to be in that above that 432, that like the scientists say, the miracle tone, because that's supposed to be real good to where the dark is not going to get in you or on you, and your light is really shining at that point to where you know people are attracted to you. People get attracted to you when your energy is good. People want that energy, or people will notice who you are. I mean, not who you are, but basically notice your energy because of again, it's spinning clockwise to where it's going out, whereas negative energy is counterclockwise, which is sucking it in. That's why the dark wants to suck in energy. They want to suck in people's energy, and that's what they're out here to do: steal your essence. And when we understand that that's what they're trying to do, they try to lower our vibration to where they can easily steal our essence. That's why if you keep your vibration up, we bright so bad that it scares them to where when you come across a person that has dark entity either in them or on them, they either run from you, or you walk by them and they'll lash out at you for no reason. And when they lash out at you, remember, it's not the person that's doing it. It's the dark entity that's in that person or on that person. So, don't verbally, I try not to verbally tell that person, anything, but through telepathic. I tell that dark entity, hey, if you don't leave this person alone, I will walk up to her and ask her if she wants you to remove her. She wants to remove you. And when I get my connection, we have the power and authority to remove you. And that's when they settle down, usually back off and all that kind of stuff. But it's not the person's fault because the person probably don't know what's going on when that dark entity takes over and start lashing out for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And normally when they do that, when you start talking to the dark entity, the person is going to have like a little flash moment where, oh, where am I? And kind of get dumbfounded and look around, and that's when you know, okay, she's back in control.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of things like this happen. I mean, um, what do you do to raise your vibration? Is what a lot of people ask me, and I said, well, first of all, again, grounding, meditation, connecting, connecting to Mother Earth, connecting to the Creator, you know, connecting to my guides. My, guides are Archangel Michael, Raphael, whomever, archangels. And, in my spiritual realm, I connect, even with the higher beings, the ETs up there. There are those in the light, there are in the dark. But get the light was to connect with them. The Arshurians, the mantises, those are the light. But again, when you're in the light, they know who they are. They're in the light. They'll come protect you. You
Mm-hmm.
you have to ask for it. It's like they're hovering over you, waiting to protect you, but they can't do it until you ask.
You Till you
So
call
that's why I
upon
tell
them.
people, I
Yeah.
said, when you connect, when you ground, when you meditate, ask these, protect, ask your protectors to protect you. Even when you go to sleep and you're not
Yep.
going to do anything, tell them to protect you.
Every
So
night. Every night.
every night, yeah.
Oh yeah. Um, I mean, because I think that's one of the things that my medicine man like kind of pushed into me was, you leave your body at night and you go off and you travel, and you're leaving your body like totally unguarded. He was like, for any type of like dark entity to come in and just hop in. It's nice little unguarded host body. So, I mean, one of the things was like, keep your medicine bag on you. What else was there? Well, also too, to call on protectors. I usually have like, like you said, a helper, an archangel watch over my body while I'm off traveling because I am traveling. I mean, I feel it. I mean, there has been times where there's been like this weird kaleidoscope just kind of opens up and I'm seeing it and it's like like shifting and it's like platinum and it's gold and it's like all these beautiful colors and it's just changing. And then I just get poop, I get sucked up into that and I'm just like goodbye. So, and I remember when that happened. I was just like, I was feeling really down. I was just kind of feeling like really alone. Like I felt like I had been cut off from everybody. And, I was like missing my star family. And like, I was like really sad about it. And that was like one of the things is I went to sleep and I was watching, I had my TV set on for like a timer so it would shut off, but I was like kind of on that weird hour of like Jerry Springer or something, and I was like laying there and I fell asleep and it was just like it was like a little like this little bell, just like these little light bells just kind of woke me up. And it was like they're here. And it was like I knew my star family was here. I was like, they're here, they're here. I thought they were gonna take me and that was gonna be it. I thought I was just gonna poop, gone, and not have to come back. But I mean, that's when the kaleidoscope opened. That's when I got sucked up into it. And when I came back, the same episode of Jerry Springer was on. And I was like, well, I just and I felt so cheated because I had no memory of it, at the time. But like over the course of how many years, you get a little bit at a time, little piece, and I was able to write off that for a long time because I mean, I was like losing heart because I was like reaching out to all these people because I had been given this information in 2001. I think it was 2001, 2002, maybe, where the psychic had was trying to have this information passed around that there was going to be some sort of, scam going on. which what we went through in 2019, 2020, and what, was supposed to be the cure. And, the psychic said, well, most, most diseases, they don't invent the cure first before, the actual disease. And he was like, they've been trying to come out with it for a long time. Just be aware and, watch for the signs. And when they started to come out, I started talking, and people were just so walled off and just so angry. I mean, even people in my own family, were telling me you know, just stop, just be quiet, just go with the flow, comply. And I was just like, this doesn't feel right to my spirit though. Like I just feel like something's not right, going along with it. And I don't know, I think they opened up the experimental part of it into the public. My father went along behind my back and took the cure. So I gave him like I think I gave him about 18 months and he made it to 16. So, I mean, it was hard though. Because it was like this information, nobody wanted to talk to me. My name was like dirt. I was told from every totally different side, just to shut up. And, stop talking about my visions. Stop talking about these astral happenings, and these out of body experiences because I was making people uncomfortable. I made myself uncomfortable. It was like I just couldn't shut up. It was just like I was watching myself just blah, blah. I was like, stop it already, and I couldn't. It was just like I was like I had to get it out. It was like these things are happening, and I'm seeing these visions and I'm getting these weird dreams that are not dreams because, I mean, I'm able to do all this weird things like eat in my dream. I'm able to like sleep in my dream. Like I've actually like fallen asleep and had something jump on me and wake me up, but not wake me up out of what I was dreaming. So I was like actually sleeping. I was weird. And using my phone and getting correspondence and reading it, and you're not really. They say lucid dreaming. You're not like supposed to be able to see words or anything like that. And everything that I tell people, like seeing mirrors in the astral and going up to them and seeing like a totally different face looking back at me. People thought I was a complete crack nonsense. Just out of it. What kind of drugs are you on? And I wasn't. I mean, this was like after the fact that I had cleaned up and had been to treatment and was like realizing that I had these gifts, which is, I'm a connector. I don't consider myself a healer. I feel I'm like this, your cell phone, connector that you use to charge your phone up with. That's what I am. I'm like this connector. I can connect to the universal energy and to be able to get you connected to it so that you can do your own healing. You can be your own healer, and I don't have like a whole lot of repeating people that come to me. And I think that is, what we strive for. I certainly don't want, the same people coming back month after month after month, just saying, I feel good for a while and then it just goes away. What's going on? I mean, then, it's no better than what's going on, in the medical field.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, you know, you hit a lot of subjects on that point about, when you are awakened. One thing is, when you awaken and you said that you start talking about your visions and all this kind of stuff, people get mad. Well, when you awaken, that's what happens. When you become a loner, you people just look at you like, what's wrong with her or what's wrong with him, and you just have to go along. I mean, go with it. I mean, only a few, only a few. Like I can tell you from the palm of my hand how many best friends I had, and that was three. three people through my high school years. I had three good best friends, and those best friends, you know, even though they didn't agree with me, they still stuck with me. Because what I would say would come about, and it would surprise them. It would surprise them, so they want to know, okay, what next, what next. But it just when I was going out, and you know I was trained at a very young age, and when I was trained, or they were starting to share knowledge. I started when I was age 7 by my elders, and at that age, only only a few of the community members knew about me until we started having all night ceremonies. And when we started having all night ceremonies, I participated, and people started saying, "Wow, he's too young to do." I did it. I did it because at that time, after being trained and everything, I knew how to ground. I knew how to connect. I knew how to raise my vibration, raise it beyond people's thing. And when all my elders taught me all this, like I said, only those three friends that I had, their family told them, this guy, he's gonna be a strong person, and they told him he belongs to this medicine group. I've seen him in action and all this. And so they told their kids that. And so these three guys, they hung with me. I mean, no matter what, they were there for me. And like I said, three good friends of mine, no matter thick or thin, they were there for me, and I was there for them. So these are the things that we encounter as being awoke. And then as I went along in life, I went into high school. I didn't have girlfriends, but I was going to be a book nerd. So I studied, and I had good grades to where, when I started my life, it helped me, pursued college, even went to graduate school, and so all that, it just, it helped me, but I never used it. I never used it, because I opened my own business and I carried that with me. And because being a service to people, I believe one of the things that I had was I was there for the people, and I still am. You talk about, when you help a person, they come back. Oh, it didn't work. They'll go, they come back. It didn't work. Well, that's mine. I go to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I help them, usually, you know, whatever we do, 2 or 3 days later, I call them. How are you? Did it help? Is there anything else we could do? And all this, I would like follow up on them. And when I do that, I just don't do that. Just try to reel in more money. I don't do that. I just follow up and I tell them, you know, you know, I said I will follow up on you until we conquer whatever we are trying to heal you from. And so it may take a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, but I'm gonna still call you, and I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
call you and say, "Hey, are you okay? If not, let's try this. Let's try cleansing, and let's get your vibration up. Doing it this way. Let me share this knowledge with you. Let me share this herb with you. You ever share this with you? What I know. I'm gonna share it with them, and like we say, the more you give them, the more they are knowledgeable about, to where they start helping themselves. Because, as a vessel, once we make connection and they heal themselves, now it's between him and the creator and Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So if you share the knowledge about how to take care of themselves, the first thing I do is keep connection with the creator, with Mother Earth. Keep that connection on your own, and if you need me, I can help you to stay connected. because that's one thing that's very important part about healing is for
Mhm.
them to take care of themselves, to connect themselves, to be a thing. Because when I teach about raising your vibration, when my partner Kim and I we teach about raising our vibration, that's what we do. We talk about when you raise your vibration, your earthly chakras, your first three chakra is about who are you. And once you know about who you are, then you go in, like your Trinity, mind, body, and soul. So you talk about your body. Who are you? Because that's the first thing the elders asked me. Who are you? Are you an infinite being or are you awoken? I said, I'm an infinite being. I said, good. You're ahead of a lot of people.
Mhm.
Then they know where to start sharing their knowledge with me about, because now if I say I'm awoken, training would have been different. But I said, I'm an infinite being. So they knew that I have had some kind of experience, which I did because as before I got my training, I conquered death, sometimes two, three times
Yeah.
to where, I knew I had an out of body experience to where I saw myself float while we're you know, and then when I came back, you know, and they were told this, okay, we gotta start working on because don't believe me, when you start awakening or when you are the chosen one, that dark is not going to stand around and wait till you start to train. No, they're going to try to get you right away. And so my training started protection and cleansing was the first thing that came to their thoughts because they did not teach me about what kind of services I was going to provide because I don't even know. Because when I connect, whatever happens, happens. I don't control, you know. But if I see something, I say, okay, this is what I'm going to concentrate on when we do to help you, or if it's something big, well, let's work you together. And I will work together with that person on what we're going to do, healing, and how we're going to work with it. It's not about, poof, I'll give you medicine and go. No, it's
Mm.
not that. It's all about, again, our mind, body, and soul. If you allow your spirit to control the body can rejuvenate now. The spirit, if it controls the body, say, okay, you need to start working on this. You got a little lump there. Let's get rid of that lump. The body's going to rejuvenate and get rid of it. It's going to get rid of it. Or it's going to do it to where it's going to cover it with so much love. Like I tell a lot of people, I said, even if you have cancer, cover it with love. Cover that cancer with love, and it will stop growing and it will not bother you anymore. It was
Mhm.
like with love, you got it covered up, with love to where it's not going to grow or it's not going to do anything to damage this body again. So that's why, you know, educating the patient about, how to take care of themselves after you've done the ceremony. The ceremony is to do what father and mother want you to do. And after that, you just have to follow up with, are they taking care of themselves? You know, people tell me, I said, I've had people in the past, way past that, who come before me and says, oh, I got cancer. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I said, well, what caused your cancer? Oh, I'm smoking. And I said, okay, are you planning to stop? Oh no. This poor fella I call him Papa Mac. Man, he'd have a cigarette in his mouth and had pinch of snuff and chewing tobacco in the back.
Mm.
Man, he had all three of them all at one time. And he's wondering why he had cancer. You know, I said, Papa Mac, I said, you're gonna have to settle down, but I said, I'm enjoying it life. This is life, and because he was probably in his 80s when he finally did all that. But then he said, I live my life. I'm gonna enjoy it till whatever. And as my mother used to say, when the Lord calls me, and I said, okay, 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 mother, when the Lord calls you, I just tell him I say hi, whatever, but but again, we are infinite beings. This avatar we have to take care of until we accomplish our mission. So,
Mhm.
you know, but let's go on to a different world. Now, now, what's going on? You know,
Yeah, we
you know,
had what was that energy? Like I messaged you yesterday and I was just like, "Holy man." My first was like I felt like I was, you remember the Kool-Aid man from when we were kids and he would just fly through the wall and he'd be like, "Oh yeah." I mean, that's how I felt yesterday. I was just like, "Where's all this energy coming from?" And I couldn't sleep. Like the night before, it was like something was like itching at me and it was like I couldn't sleep the night before, which was like the 26th. Yes, yesterday was my birthday and it was like right before it happened. I was like, there's something going on. I just felt it. And I think that was like when somebody and it was like, what's going on? So then I put that out and like 2 minutes later I get this post and it was like the frequency of the earth, the Schumann resonance was off the charts. It was just starting to go crazy. And so they didn't want a lot of scared people, so they had blocked it out, but there was, real pictures coming through. And I was just amazed, because it was like that's exactly how I'm feeling. Like all of that with Mother Earth. Just this feeling of agitation, like I felt like I was plugged into something because it was like I had drank 6 pots of coffee before I tried to lay down, and anybody that knows that knows you can't do it, and that's how I felt. It was like, so I mean, I got up, I couldn't sleep on my own bed. So I went to the couch and it was like, the cat was like eating too loud and all these noises were just like, I can't do this. And it was so hot and I kept turning like the heat down and I'm just like, why is I'm burning up? So then I went into the guest bedroom and I laid down there and I probably got about an hour of sleep. And it was just I was trying so hard to like soothe what was wrong. And I mean, I should have just got up like then and there and went outside and started doing my grounding work. But it was just like, once you get inside and you're settled in, you don't want to go anywhere. But it was something I should have done. And then when I talked to you and you were like, you need to ground, I did that. And then I was like meditating afterwards. And I was like taking in these deep breaths. And I'm just like trying to breathe, but I was like still that same agitation. It wasn't really anxiety because there wasn't anything that was like frightening me, but it was just like this, like I had OD'd on caffeine. And, I hadn't even had anything to drink that day that was even relative, to coffee or anything, So it was like, what's going on? So, and then it kind of, after I started meditating and I was taking those deep breaths, and I was like, you know what? I only got an hour of sleep. I'm going to lay down and rest. I finally feel like I can close my eyes and rest comfortably. And I did for about 2 hours. And then I was up again. But it was the intensity of what was going on yesterday. And that was about 3 days away from like a huge solar flare that we had, and it takes about 2 to 3 days to get here. So we were, the earth was experiencing that blast of energy, and there's like a lot of us that are like these antennas to, mother through mother. And like I'm like a double water sign. So I pull a lot of energy, and there's times where I felt like I've needed to, protect and like throw like this canopy of protection around, a community or certain group of people. And, it takes a lot out of me, because I mean, you don't normally do it.
hmm. Well, I, I don't know. I guess the intense of the energy really was pretty strong because one, you know, you go again. We look at the universe. I think we had a final planetary alignment
Yes.
that night, that 26, something like that. That was a
The,
final planetary alignment that you could see with the naked eye. And with that being the final planetary alignment for until whenever it happens again, I'm sure there was a lot of energy with those planets aligning, and Mother Earth being part in the middle of the alignment, all her brothers and sisters are coming together, and I'm sure she was excited, them nearby, or lining up with each other, but
mhm.
I'm sure. I mean, that's just my whole thing that I'm saying, but I mean, because Mother Earth is just like us, like us humans. He's part of the universe. She's part of the universe, and because like I tell people, I say, we don't take care of Mother Earth and something happens to it, guess what? It's going to mess up the whole planetary system,
Mhm.
you know, and not only in the star area, but also in the galaxy. Even though we're just a little dot in the galaxy, who knows, but things like that really make a difference.
Mhm.
And a lot of the elders that used to tell me, they said, be careful on certain times of the year. And February is one of them. In February, we call it Tayam Tuyachune, meaning that it will get so cold out in New Mexico that the trees limbs would literally have so much water in it when it freezes, it would explode and it would
Mhm.
break that branch. And that's what they're saying in that month, Tayam Tuyachune, meaning that the the branch has broken. The branch will break in this month, or in December or January. They'd say Mishopalosemian, meaning that you know the lizards and all the high reptiles, they bury themselves deep. So when the frost gets it doesn't get to them when they bury themselves deep. But sometimes it will get so cold that, as they say, even though the lizard is buried underneath so deep, that the cold will get so deep that it will freeze that little lizard to death. That's what that month is, and that's what the elderly people used to say. So, all these things that our energy is connected to, we don't realize it, but it does affect us.
Mhm.
Even now, what is trying to control our energy? Look at all these cell phone towers. You know, if you read about the Gwen towers, look
Yep.
what all they do. And all these things. Weather modification. And all this. And so when we talk about our energy, how bad is it try to be manipulated, not only through our solar system, but also within the earthly plane? How
Mhm.
bad is our energy trying to be manipulated?
On a daily
And
basis.
yeah,
Daily
and
basis.
and also, you know, what is going on? I mean, why? I mean, people is so in an uproar now. I mean, some of them are happy that things are happening. Some of them are not, and those that are not are really coming up with stupid stuff. I would say just to, you know, just to get themselves heard, whatever. And I said, wow, I can't believe they're wasting their energy on that. Look at what kind of energy they're wasting.
The need for attention is really high in some people.
And
I've come to that.
when I think it's beyond the need right now, but I mean, so what is going on out there? Everything. I mean, I'm all calm about it because these are the things my ancestors used to tell. I mean, my elders used to tell me about. These are the things that was passed on. I mean, I look at our generation. I mean, look how much we have come to where we are so lazy that it needs to get cut off. And when it gets cut off, whoa, what happens? Because, you know, some of us, had was open-minded or was taught enough to survive. But when it gets cut off, those that don't, case in point, you know, when we're down south in Texas, they had a what they call a freeze warning. I mean, the electricity went out for a week, and when the
Really?
electricity went out for a week, 60 people died in one town because no electricity, no running water.
No
And I'm
heat?
thinking, I go back to reservation and I go into the Navajo reservation, some of the isolated areas where I'm from, some of these elderly Navajo people, they live in a hogan where there's no running water, no electricity, but they're surviving. They survive these harsh winters. And then
Hmm.
in the town of Texas,
Hmm.
no electricity for 1 week and 60 people died. I thought, wow, wow,
Yeah.
and
Well, you saw what happened when TikTok was banned for 24 hours. You
I don't do TikTok, so I don't
know?
know.
Oh, it was bad. I mean, and they announced it beforehand, so people were like, I think people were expecting it, but there were some people that were like literally it was to them it was the end of the world. And you were hearing things, daily about people that were, offing themselves, unaliving themselves over the fact that, it wasn't going to be there. I was just blown away. To me, it was like an experiment to see, if we take this away, what's going to happen. That's kind of what I got from it. I wasn't, I mean, I'm on it and I have, I do these uploads of these videos for like some of my shows on there, but I don't really put like a whole lot of attention into it. And I was fine with it, you know, signed on, couldn't sign on, no big deal. And 12 hours later, people were still talking about it. And it was like, hey guys, it's up. You can go on and check it out. Um, to me, it was just like, how bad is that? I mean, we grew up in an, a generation where we didn't have color TVs. I
Yeah,
mean, we if you had a little black and white, you were considered wealthy if you had one. And we didn't have sometimes we didn't have electricity, because we were so far north, that when the electricity went out, sometimes it would be a day or two before it would go back on. So you had like a little barrel stove, and that was your heat. If you put like something on top of it, you could boil water. I mean, it's just I didn't have a bathroom in my house until I was about 5. We did live down in Minneapolis, but I don't have any memory of living there in a rental. But coming up north and living in the reservation in our own house, we would go, you know, we didn't have any water. We always had to like bring water from my uncle's house that just down the road, so we were always bringing water to the house. We didn't have bathroom facilities. There was like a little outhouse pushed back in the backyard, like in the corner. It was just a 2 room. It wasn't anything spectacular, but I mean, I didn't know that, to me, that was what I was used to. So, I mean, I didn't, I look back at it now and I look at, all the things that we do have and, that we take totally for granted because, I think it was 3 years ago, I had a dream where we went, I think in my dream, there was like a time that had passed and it was more than a year. So when I went to sleep, there was like this whole year. And when I woke up, it was still like the next day, but it was in this year, we went without electricity. We were like horse and buggying it. We were like, we went all the way down to, I think it was like Minneapolis. And this was before my dad passed away. And he was with me and he was like, look, he's like, there was a couple of businesses that had electricity, but I mean, we were all doing it by lanterns, candles, battery run, flashlights and that type of stuff. The people that did have like some solar panels were a lot better off than some of the people that didn't. but they were like pushing us into like tenement housing. So it was like a couple of families living in these big buildings, kind of like, longhouses, which, the Ojibwe culture had the longhouses where there was more than just one family that was living in them. It was like a little small community where you all took turns and went hunting and cooking and gathering and prepared food together and ate and cleaned up and lived together and took care of each other. So I don't know. Are we going to see a return to that? Yes. How long it's going to be, I have no idea. In my dream, it was about a year, but it could be sooner in like bigger places, but I'm not concerned about it. I'm not like terrified because, I grew up that way, not having, electricity or running water, having to go, but these urban areas are not going to be doing as good, but um, yeah, because urban areas, everybody's just stacked on top of each other, like a high
Yeah.
rise or apartment building.
Well, I know the reservation that I'm from is Zuni. Being raised on Zuni, like in my grandma's house, there was 5 families in that one house. Each family had a bedroom, but we all ate at the same dining room, kitchen, or whatever, and we all had one big living room. And you know, after we ate supper, you know, the elders of the house would sit in the living room. They if they wanted to smoke, they'd go outside and smoke
Mm-hmm.
because my grandma didn't allow them to smoke inside the house. And the head, the eldest female, which was my grandma, ruled the house. And so everybody got along. No, there was no arguments, nothing. Everybody got along. Whoever worked, they all pitched in, bought groceries, and or they give my grandma the money, and when she go grocery shopping, she knows what she wants because it was usually my uncle or my grandpa and my grandma and other females that were in the house. They would all cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But breakfast was our main dinner, our main day to eat. Lunch was just usually a piece of bread with coffee or tea, whatever. And then dinner, we'd eat something light because, the elders would say, you don't want to go to bed with a full stomach. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want to become worthless, which, I said, okay, okay. So, now, this is nobody practices it. Then the government came to start building houses throughout, it split the family up
Mm-hmm.
where families are just out there everywhere. And there's no closeness in the family anymore. Families are bickering among each other. Brothers
Mm-hmm.
and sisters are bickering. And I said, wow, what happened? And on the reservation, it's not that big to where, we were self sufficient too. We had our own ranches. We had a cattle ranch. We had our sheep camp. We had our cornfields. We had, watermelon fields, bean fields, all these vegetable gardens everywhere. And it doesn't matter who you are, what you go help a neighbor or another family at their ranch. Either that or their farming field.
Mm-hmm.
When they come harvest, the whole village went out harvest that one field. Then they harvest another field. They harvest where they helped each other. But now harvest time, you're out there by yourself. You know, nobody out
Yeah.
there to help you. Not even your brother or sister. You're out there by yourself harvesting. And we talk about living without electricity and running water. Where I'm at, I see a lot of Amish people out here. They're buggies. They ride their bikes. I don't care if it's raining or windy or cold. You see them poor Amish ladies riding their bikes down the street, going wherever their destination. They'll be on that bike, just cruising, or they'll be on the buggy with a horse. They have the whole family, going on a buggy, and you don't see electricity coming out of their house.
Mm-mm.
They do laundry. You see a big old clothes lying across with their clothes. Oh, laundry day today for them. You
They
know,
wash by hand.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything. And you know, we lost that skill, that talent. And at one point, my goal was to teach all that because I can vegetables. I was taught by a nice lady, you know, she taught me how to can. You know, my my elders taught me how to process the meat, to where you don't need a refrigerator to keep a meat over a year. You know, we got, you dry them up, beef
Mm-hmm.
jerky and
Mm-hmm.
all that. Well, how do you cook with beef jerky? Real simple. Beef jerky,
It's
and corn,
dried out.
dry the corn,
You just
dry the
add.
beans, and everything,
Oh yeah.
but, you know, how to build a fire, use flint or go to the tree, get the limb, find the tree roots, friction. You can start a fire like that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but can you? I mean, yeah, you might get blisters on your hands if you haven't done that. When you try it, yeah, you can get it going, but it takes a little sacrifice if you're not used to it, but these things, I mean, we can do it. But now, oh, I just go to Walmart. I'm gonna call ahead. They got my groceries ready. When I get there, when they're gonna call me back, I just pull up and they load up my groceries, and I'm coming back home. You know, but no, what happened to good old times when you push that buggy and run over people's heels and everything while you're trying to grocery shop?
Exactly. Yeah, it's time, and it's just like where's the time going? I mean, you don't make the time. It's just you can just keep making the excuses. Yeah, and that's kind of where I went with mine too. In not healing. Some of the generational trauma that went through my family, and as it was experienced in through my parents with like the residential boarding schools, and witnessing that trauma firsthand. So it was like I was going to continue, you know, doing the same thing, or I was going to do the hardest thing, which is, forgiveness, and forgiving doesn't necessarily, forgetting and forgiveness are two different things, and the forgiveness in your heart for anything that was done, to you as a small child, which a lot of us, kind of got dumped off with like strangers and stuff. So, I mean, my parents would go party and stuff, and I was dumped off with like people I didn't know. And, I had to just take into it like this something bad happened, and recall it. But also, anyone that I was like personally felt like I blamed, I mean, I had to learn forgiveness for what had happened, and it was hard, I because you want to you retain these memories, these bad memories, and it eats at you. So it's like, are you going to let it go? Are you going to forgive? Because it's moving on. We have like this really big focus that's coming up, and to me, it was like it was told that we had a certain amount of time to like bring out all these old memories or these bad memories that we've chosen to like bring along with us. They don't serve us anymore, and it's like carrying around 20-pound weights. They're slowing you down, and having to like heal, but they don't really tell you how. They don't tell you, they just tell you you have to heal this. And it's like, well, how? There was a lot of trauma in my life as a child that I had blocked out. So I have no memory of this trauma, just what leads up to it, and then just total blank, don't remember. So, that's called disassociating, where you can kind of just kind of zone out and just like forget. That was a safety measure that was implemented in me as a child to be able to get through some really hard times. So, I mean, having to work backwards, with not really a timeline, but, going back, okay, was this abusive relationship that I had like, 8 years ago, you know, forgive that, not only that person that I was involved with, but also myself for getting involved with all these red flags and, suffering needlessly, through a relationship that was more toxic than it was, uplifting. And then, you move back to what was, traumatic at that point, and then just keep going backwards and backwards until you get to a time where you're like, well, this happened, but I don't remember what happened. We'll heal that too as well, heal it because
Yeah.
you just, I went through some stuff with my kids, and I was like talking to the psychiatrist, and they were telling her that it was okay for her to blame me for anything that went wrong with her life. Any decision that she made where it wasn't, copacetic in her life, where she was struggling with it, go ahead and blame mom. And I was like, excuse me? I asked her, I was like, can you tell me where you got your degree in psychology? Because that's not, that's not how you, I don't even have a degree in psychology. And I know that that's wrong. I was like, I've never once ever looked back at my parents and blamed them for anything that went wrong with my life. It was a series of paths designated to me to make me who I am today. And I'm a very strong woman, and I wouldn't be a survivor and right here, right now, trying to talk to people about understanding the traumas in our lifetimes that it, and then there's proven research saying that, something that happened to our generations in the 1600s, it goes in our DNA and it goes down to our grandchildren, and they're, and it just keeps getting passed down. But, it's, we have to be the ones to heal that, to stop
Yeah.
it and heal it. And then,
Break that
our children
generational
say,
curse.
that's exactly right. And it's hard, you know, because, but it's like, I talk to a lot of people and they're just like, well, yeah, I had a pretty good life, but, and I've had to, hit past historical trauma, and it's affecting me, and with mine, it was, what we all know about the indigenous, tragedies that have happened to our people, and, other people of color and what has happened to them, and we have to stop using that in how we treat people. You can't just judge a person by the outside and be like, oh, that person's just like this other person. You don't know that. You have to be able to connect with someone and be like, hi, and if they just look at you like, psh, then at least But I mean, if they're
Okay.
like, hi, my name is, and they introduce themselves and they shake their hand and they talk to you and they listen to you. I mean, you have to be able to reach out to people, and you're never going to know if you just continuously just dislike someone because of something like, the color of their avatar, you
Yeah.
know, let it go, please. I
Yeah.
mean, we've spent so many years fighting. Why can't we just put it to the side and be like, we're different, but we are all one? And that was like one of the reasons why when I started this other podcast, and it was like Prime Indigenous, one tribe, that one tribe just went through my head since like 2013. One tribe, one tribe, one tribe, and we are all the same from the same tribe. We're all
Mhm.
humans. We're the human tribe.
Well,
You got to look at it
I
like
believe
that.
that that's why the medicine wheel has four colors.
Oh yeah.
The four colors are, red, black, white, and yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the four skin colors of the world. And at one point, according to our oral history, those four colors were in one big landmass.
Yes.
And because we started bickering and couldn't get along and all thing, that's when the landmass start breaking up and we start separating. And scientists call that continental drift because if
Right.
you get the continents and put them, squeeze them back together, it's
They
one
all
big
fail.
landmass. I mean, but to me, I personally, I don't, whatever happened in the past, I let it go.
Yeah.
I don't look for the future because it's not here yet. I
Hmm.
live for today. Now I might say, well, I got an appointment with the doctor I need to go do. Now that, is physical, but spiritually, I live for today. When I get up, you know, in the morning, thank you, Father. Thank you, Mother, for another. Thank you, bed, for giving me a good night comfort place. Just lay my
Hmm.
body down. Thank you, blankets, for keeping me warm. You know, all these things. Attitude of gratitude, you know, and you know, then you turn the news on. Here it goes. No, just kidding.
I had to stop watching the news. It was like, oh my gosh, they're just like they pick apart the most terrifying thing and then they just throw it out there. And I've actually like I remember one time my father was like, it's a 200% more C cases than it was last week. So I went in and I like actually went in, found the graph and found that one person 2 weeks ago had the C virus. And then all of a sudden, two more people got it. So that was, yeah, that's like a 200% jump, but it's only three people involved. You have to like look at it and realize that they're going to make, they're going to get more views if they make it sound so horrible and terrifying. People are going to be like, well, what's going to happen? And yeah, I'm just falling back on like a lot of the stories that I heard growing up, where some of the elders where they would talk about it, or it was like the information that I have been given since I was a young child. Like I remember being 3 years old and being like, I'm going to see the end of this world and the beginning of another. And I don't know how I knew that, because what kind of a 3-year-old thinks about that kind of stuff? But I mean, I was like 3 or 4 because I remember being in preschool when this was happening. And it was like, I'm here for this. So I mean, it was like I knew at 3 that I was here for a specific reason, that I was going to see something that I was going to be a part of and that I had wanted to be a part of. And I remember thinking back of being excited at that moment when I was told that I was going to be taking on this I don't know what you would call it, a job, a pathway,
Mission,
a guide stone,
a
whatever, a
mission. I call
mission.
it a mission. You
Yeah,
know, because it's up to us to share. If
yeah,
we have the knowledge to teach or to share the knowledge, if we know how to survive, to share the survival. I
that's
mean,
it.
well, I look at it this way. I believe post-ship's ready to happen again. I don't know
Hmm.
when. We got all kinds of, again, fear mongering on. There's a meteor supposed to hit in what, 5 years? It's supposed to hit a big city and somewhere and all. They don't even know. They don't even know where it's going to hit. Or, now, granted, all these weather changes and everything is because of weather modification. But
Right.
they're saying, no, it's the environment. It's the environment. No, they pollute Mother Earth where, yeah, she's probably choking and gagging, but, it's all weather modification that they're
Right.
doing.
You
Look
can
at
only,
California. It was on fire big time, and then they finally revealed that they have been cloud seeding to bring in rain and all that. So with all that fire going on, they decided to over cloud seed, and for the first after the fires die down, for the first 2 weeks it was just raining like crazy out there. To where now, they're worried about, landslides. So
hmm
somebody
hmm
wants to buy California. No, not me. You
Well,
know,
I mean, I'll at some point, there is evidence that there was like Arizona was underwater. I've, had people come and show me, because they do like the rock or the crystal picking, the rock picking, and they'll show me like actual like rocks that have been broken open and there's like little tiny sea creatures embedded in the rocks. So I mean, they were like, at some point, Arizona was
Oh yeah.
underwater. And it's like that everywhere. There's evidence of at some point, you know, this planet was, or where we are was someplace different. Because I live in the heartland where all the food is like growing, but it's almost like it's becoming very hot, very dry, and it's so desolate there anyway. So if it were to change to possibly desert, you know, I would believe it because there's like two, really big mountains on either side of it. But I mean, I kind of feel like everything's going to shift. So like
Well,
certain areas are going to become certain this way and vice versa.
I'm ready
And
for the excitement then.
I am too. I signed up for a lot of, drama and excitement, and it was like last summer I was in this meditation and I was like deeply like where I'm able to clear everything out of my head, and all of a sudden it was like at that moment I got one word and it was like convergence, and I was like, who said that? It was like, who was that? What was that word? And I wrote it down, and then I continued to keep meditating, and then afterwards, I started to like, what does the convergence mean? What is a convergence? I
Coming
didn't
together.
understand it. Right. It's a planetary alignment. It's a coming together. Um, and there was like specific groups of people during these convergences that would benefit from energy or something that would like it was going to be, something life changing, for certain groups of people.
Okay.
So, yeah, like the 2040, I think that was like someone said something about that was like the next convergence or the next planetary alignment was in 2040, but I don't know how much of that is true. I'm hearing different people saying no, I'm hearing yeah. So,
Well, I don't listen to people. I don't listen to people.
oh, I get all kinds of stuff, and most of it's just like clairaudient. I hear things, and it's just like, who said that? And it's like somebody's talking like right here, and I can hear it. Like I hear like certain words. Like I think it was like crown like right around November, December. I remember getting ready for bed and I heard one word and it was like acorns. And it was like acorns. I sit here and I'll like pray for the information. I'm ready for it and I don't get anything. And then I go and do something like just go crawl into bed and lay down and someone says something to me. So acorns. So I was like, what does that mean? Well, every acorn starts out really small, but it has the
Yeah.
potential to become this great gigantic tree. And if you get a big bushel of acorns, the possibilities are endless with this forest. So, I mean, what's to say that we're not the acorns? We're not the ones that are growing. We're not the ones that are protecting and sharing and because what are trees? They share with each other. We need to do that
Yeah. All
more.
right. Well, you know, we brought out a lot, so we got to save some for next time.
Yeah. We might have to like go on to one certain thing that somebody's like, well, I wish you guys would talk more about this. So that would be kind of interesting if anybody
Okay.
would like
Sounds good.
to.
And I'm gonna say that I'm gonna post this on One Nation Tribal Alliance, and I'm gonna open it for comments. So whatever comments I get, I'll share that with you. Maybe we can do one about some of the comments. So those of you who are
Yeah.
watching, if you got any questions about what we need to talk
Questions.
about, put it on the comment, and we will be glad to bring it up and talk about it. So
Yep.
it's
I'm
kind
always
of like
willing
an
to
open
share.
mic. So
Share knowledge, a sharing of knowledge.
yeah. So anyway, I enjoyed it, Eve, and we
Always.
we need to continue this. So next time we'll get a date again, and we'll uh, get on and do another one.
That's amazing. I had a lot of positive outlook when I put it on my Facebook about us doing this show. So there was a lot of people that were like, yeah, that's amazing. I think it is.
Okay.
I think it's time for all of us to be very open with each other and, talk about some of these things because we need to like share to a broader, 'cause, I mean, sharing is connecting. So
Yes.
that's what I look
All
at.
right. Well, thank you for your time again, Eve. And One Nation Tribal Alliance, thank you for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day, blessed week. And until next time, we love you. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye.